Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to have the day's Dhamma talk. May you all settle down and give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Patavi dhatu, apo dhatu, vayo dhatu, tejo dhatu, akasha dhatu, viññāna dhatu, cha dhaturo yang puriso vatti ucchati, iti yang tang buddhaṃ itame tang paticca buddhaṃ ti. Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, yesterday, being the first day, in the first Dhamma talk, we introduced the particular discourse delivered by the Buddha, known as Dhathu Vibhanga Sutta. You may find that in the middle sayings, and whereby the Buddha, Pukkusati as the listener, only one listener, is giving a complete analysis of, with his omniscient knowledge about a person. And he give different viewpoints. Each and everyone want to look and see the similarity of all the human beings, similarity of all the people. So therefore one has to see through or cut through one's own personal identities or personal natural characteristics, and if someone can see through it and to look into the way the Buddha suggests, it may appear like a shortcut to understand what is what you call things as they are, or the understanding the reality. With that respect, the bold statement, the first and foremost statement the Buddha made is the Dhaturo yang puriso. The person consists of 6 elements, and irrespective of any other sectarianism or divisions, so one has to live a life or develop a kind of a contemplation, kind of a mindfulness, has to see it is nothing but 6 elements. Or in the colloquial way, one can say a person means merely 6 elements. So as far as one cannot see that or accept that and digest that, instead going to understand, I am so and so, I am a male, I am a female, I am ordained, I am non-ordained, I am a Buddhist, I am non-Buddhist, I am a Westerner, I am a Easterner, that all the kind of these labels are really blocking, nothing but blockages to understand this the simple, direct touch. But even then, even if someone starts with this kind of identity, like a male, female, like conventional, it is not really hindering this view if someone is happy to change. Someone has the will to change. So that is the invitation the Buddha, in variable way or in a informal way, he suggests to the Venerable Pukkusati. And so yesterday we cleared the ground and tried to understand how can we make use this concept or make use this idea into our meditative life, and how far, how much can we realize it as the Buddha suggests. So this is exactly what you find in the Satipatthana Sutta. In the Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha addressed to a normal commoner and then slowly cutting through from this conventional truth to the absolutes, and ultimately one can gauge how far I have realized or how far I have achieved, at least in this very sitting or in this very retreat or in one's day-to-day life. So today I thought of taking time, how can we put this concept or idea into the Theravada tradition of meditation, and how much we have already understood it and how much we are gearing our noting mind or meditative mind in towards these 6 elements. So if I am to quote yet another sutta from the Buddha, still in the same Majjhima Nikaya, the Anenjasappaya Sutta, the Buddha says that defilements can be recognized as the movements and the shaking and instability. So more and more shaky, more and more moving, and more instability means more and more gross defilements. So whereby the Buddha, it says, when and where someone is concerned about this sensuous pleasure or materialistic pleasure or pleasure related with this our senses, there are a lot of movements, a lot of friction, a lot of instability are there, instabilities are there. It is very easy to understand, and more you towards consumerization, more and more you towards luxuries, and your tension increases, your frustration increases, neurosis increases, you become rather eccentric, and peace of mind, the contentment going against, or the materialism going against the peace of mind. So therefore that is called Kama Guna. So up to the age 40, the Buddha says, it is reasonable for a person to chase behind this pleasure principle, and later traditional way, it says first, if, for example, if someone is going to take, one person is having ideally 100 years to live, first 10 years are being called Mandadasaka, that means you are lying on your back, and therefore your senses are just developing, the brain and the other senses. It is called Mandadasaka. And then from the second 10, that means from 11 to 20 teenage, is known as Krida Dasaka. It is basically meant for playful time. And the third one is Varna Dasaka. You are concerned about your appearance and you are chasing behind decorating yourself and showing yourself. Try to be smart and wearing matching colors. It is quite natural. And from 30 to 40, known as Baladasaka. That means you are showing your powers, your senses are at the peak, so therefore it is being Baladasaka. So all the time, your sensuous pleasure is the main criterion. And after 50s, so at the 50s, you come to the Jnana Dasaka. That means psychologically, you are reborn into a new area, because you have 40 years of experience, and you find your soul principle was the pleasure principle. And at the 50s, if you are mature enough, you can see it is not going to give a kind of a contentment. So therefore, if someone to understand, he or she must have certain amount of maturity on this earth. One's own trial and error experimentation in the life, and then only once one come into understanding the own experience, whereby this pleasure principle is not going to give the permanent answer. So all the areas where you try this sensuous pleasure. So it is called Kama Guna, and some people, not all the people, some people, of course minority, expect some kind of a solitude life, some kind of a renunciation, and to test, to try what are the other options with compared to this sensuous pleasure or pleasure principle. That is how these retreat centers, meditation centers, renunciation, all the things came into being. So whenever someone is renounced from the sensuous pleasure, from your familiar habitat, from your dear and near ones, and your properties, you feel like achieved a big thing, because physically, or Kaya Viveka in the Pali called, physically you renounce the sensuous pleasure, or your dear and near one. And supposing once you renounced, if you come and sit and try to meditate, you are going to face completely different story, whereby all the renounce, the sensuous pleasure and acquaintance and all the kind of thing appear in your mind as 5 hindrances. Is called Kama Sanya, as it's a memory, or that means what you have done, or you have really not done, you would have done in the past and the future projections, and about other people and about other places. So even though you renounce the life, renounce the lay life, temporarily or permanently, when you come and sit, completely different picture, where because of this Kama Sanya, that is a perception related to this sense pleasure. So, such a person, now in between two worlds, renounce the sensuous pleasure, and by his or her own will, and still can't get the full membership in this renounced world, because mind is so agitated. It is like a fish out of water. But instead, the poor person expect kind of a relaxation, kind of a calming down mind and calm down demeanor. But instead what happens is, due to this Kama Sanya, he will really agitated, disappointed, self-negated, irritated, fault-finding, and finding the self-criticism, and find nothing work according to the rule. Everything goes in bankruptcy. So that particular person, till gets certain amount of establishment in this renounced life, is a really helpless person in between two worlds. Only the renounced successful person can understand that mentality. Majority will really find fault, thinking that becoming too radical, renouncing this whole sensuous pleasure. So therefore, no any compassion from the worldly beings you can expect. So therefore, even though you manage to do away with the Kama Guna, the materialistic thing, the Kama Sanya is chasing behind you and really hacking and really torturing, really burning you, and you never recognize till you renounce, till you take a chance to sit and wait, sit and meditate. So therefore the second battalion is this Kama Sanya. So one has to really learn completely different vocabulary to explain how the Kama Sanya, that means the perception regarding this sense pleasure, is torturing, chasing behind you. So therefore you have to learn it, and in the interviews we are discussing when and where you try to keep the mind in one particular object. So much of wandering mind, daydreaming, fantasizing, pain, sounds, visual objects, visual sounds, many things happen. So there, the Buddha, he says, instead of this varietal entertainment, the mind is usually at the varietal entertainment. So to fix into one particular object, or to have one reference point, or to have a benchmark, you have to take refuge of materiality. So that is what, whenever you focus the attention to your body represents kaya, that is a kind of a heap, and it's a agglomeration of these four elements. So now you try to keep the mind, anchor your mind, or penetrate your mind into this very body instead of sensuous pleasure like seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. Of course, this is a kind of a touch. This is a kind of a mind, the wandering mind, the untrained mind. You are now focusing to a bodily, the object of body, or it's a heap of materiality, and then you try to do away with this entertainment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and other touch. So when and where you become successful, that means mind is inwardly within the body. There's a big achievement whereby you replace the sensuous perception, kama sanya, with the help of materiality, with the help of under-the-nose, experienceable, personal touch materiality. That is we call kammatthana, or object of meditation, or particular sign. So you have to understand why we are making use this body as a kayanupassana, as the object of meditation, or as the reference point, or as a benchmark, because kama sanya is varietal entertainment by nature. But if you are focusing to this kind of materiality, you can verify whether the mind is associating this very solid concrete body. When and where it is associating the kama sanya, that means sensuous perception, it is conceptual, changing from one to the other without any prior notice, and it has no any agenda. It is like a mad monkey. But instead, if you are going to make use materiality, or kammatthana, kayanupassana kammatthana, now you are using a rupa karmasthana, materiality as a reference point. So you have to spend number of days, even if you are a successful yogi, in order to keep the mind here, now I am sitting. Or to keep the mind in. If you are successful enough just to keep the mind in the body, I would say it's a big achievement, because that is the point you can say you got rid of kama guna, your dear and near one, and instead you get kama sanya, and in the meditation center you get this wandering mind, daydreaming, fantasizing, and in order to get rid of this wandering mind or kama sanya, you make use this materiality as a reference point. So this materiality at the beginning, it must be a big object. It must not be pinpointed one, because mind is not well trained enough. So therefore you take the whole body and keep it symmetrical, relaxed, and take a comfortable seat and ask the mind to dwell within the body. When that is achieved, you have to understand 2 steps now we are ahead. You are not in karma, that means in the pleasure principle. You are not in kama sanya, that means mind is not without any agenda. Instead you have rupa kammatthana to anchor. So when you are focusing the attention to the body, you find it is very easy with the closed eyes. Otherwise the eye door is the one always inviting a lot of external objects. So once you close the eyes and come into the body as such, you have to understand now you are going to start a rupa, or materiality, or corporeality, or something verifiable, and then you try first and foremost to do away with kama sanya. That is, here it represents 5 hindrances: sensuous desire, hatred, sloth and torpor, and doubts, and with uddhacca kucca, worries about the past and the future perplexations. So when that is a very good sign, one to understand, if your mind is here and now, or here now I am sitting, that very thought moment indicates, at that very thought moment, no sensuous desire, because dwelling in the body is not something appealing, not something giving any sensuous pleasure. And the second thing is that very being here and now never create any hatred. Of course, that is the case for sadistic people. That is the case for a person who is about to commit suicide. But I hope these yogis are not on that category. So otherwise, dwelling in the body is agonizing. It is torturing. It is burning to the very uncontrollable extremes. But otherwise, you have to make your posture very comfortable. You have to make your posture very relaxed. You have to make your posture very symmetrical and give the maximum comfort to the body, so that it will not associate any kind of a hatred. And as far as you know, you are not sleeping, that's a big sign to indicate now mind is awake. And 2 things then. One thing is not to associate the past and the future. It's a habitual thing in the mind, so you try to keep in the present moment. This is completely new thing. Our mind, to the mind, dwelling in the present moment is such a hateful thing. We have so much of hate toward the present moment. That is why we are daydreaming. That is why we are happy with the past. That is why we are in the future planning. And we are thinking about other people, other places. To be here and now, as an example, the Buddha says, if you keep a needle upright and then pour any amount of sesame seeds or mustard seeds or any sand, nothing remains on the top of the needle, everything falls down. Likewise, if you put any amount of thought moments, nothing remains in the present moment, it either falls into the past or regret about the past or future planning. That is how we escape our life. That's our escapism. For that we have 1001 reasons. So when we are talking, when we are gossiping, we try to justify our way of escapism. It says it is meritorious thing, it is scientific thing, it is productive thing, it is politically powerful thing, it is economically gainful thing. All these are nothing but explanations or excuses. When and there you try to keep the mind here and now, you understand you are not yet born. You are still inside the womb. You are not a full-fledged human, because you can't keep even a 1 split second on the present moment. And the other thing is, it is fair enough someone to entertain doubts. How can this keeping in the present moment leading to such a long journey? I think it is the rational mind, the linear mind. Easily one can say, that we have to think about the future. We have to analyze what has happened in the past. And that is the only way a rational mind can work. And keeping in the present moment, will it be so successful? What is the guarantee? By keeping in the present moment. So, entertaining doubts here appear like a perversion, appear like a wisdom. So, each and everyone entertain that doubt, thinking that is the inquiring mind. They think that is the exploration, that is the wisdom, that is the analytical mind life. So, therefore, you are boosting your own ego, your own likings and disliking, your own desire, your own excuses, telling that keeping in the present moment, no one talk about that. There is no assurance, so there is enough grounds for you to entertain doubts. But they never appear like doubts, they appear like inquiring mind, analytical mind. So therefore you will be very happy sitting and thinking about the past or future. So this is how it happened. So when and where the mind dwelling upon the present moment in the sitting posture, here now I am sitting, you can verify by yourself it is not with desire, not with any hatred, no any sleepiness, no past and future, no doubts. This is a very good sign that you can do, you can make use this teaching of the Buddha in this very life and achieve something. And on the return, or otherwise you can say, if a person cannot keep present moment, even for one split second, he is irrecoverably sick person mentally or physically. He is not fit enough for meditation. So this is a very first and foremost assist test. So someone to say whether I can use this very life for a worthwhile spiritual journey. If someone can't come to the present moment even for a split second, it is irrecoverable, untreatable sickness. The schizophrenic and bipolar, that kind of people, they can't dwell upon the present moment. Because their dreams are so realistic, they are living in the dream, they don't know what is the reality, what is the concept, what is the dream. So such a person, even they come into the present moment, they can't conceive, they can't perceive that I am in the present moment. So therefore, when and where a healthy yogi come into the present moment and perceiving and understanding, recognizing, appreciating, and I am in the present moment, that's a very good sign. It is a kind of a worthy life. We can invest some time on the spirituality. So if someone can experience the present moment, that I would say he or she now going to appreciate not karma guna, not the sensuous pleasure or pleasure principle, not taken for a ride by sense perception, but now making use of the materiality at the anchoring. And that particular person know, if he or she knows, it is for his or her advantage. That is what the meaning of theoretical knowledge. That is what the meaning of book knowledge. I am not in the Kama Guna, I am not in Kama Sanya, instead I am in the present moment in the materiality. So that materiality, Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw took enough time to show, it is verifiable. It is not a concept. It is not a half dream. It is not a hallucination. It is something verifiable. So this is the point the Buddha says. Now he or she is qualified to understand a person consists of 4 elements. That means materiality represented by Patavi Dhathu, Apo Dhathu, Tejo Dhathu, Vayo Dhathu, Akasa Dhathu. So out of these 5 elements, materialistic part, the most prominent, as I tried to mention and convince yesterday, air element. Air element is representing the movement and stiffness, tension, expansion, contraction, movement. So if you observe a newly born baby, whenever she is taken to an outdoor, her or his eyes are always moving and focusing to the moving objects. These are the things they can comparatively grasp. The static things they are not interested in. Our mind also, which is just like a newly born baby towards the meditation, towards the spirituality, the Buddha give a toy, something like moving object. That is to say, the in-breath and out-breath, or expansion and the contraction of the belly, rising and falling, or in walking, left leg, right leg. So you have to understand this in-breath and out-breath in sitting. Rising and falling object of the abdomen, they are now within the body, within the here, now I am, big tapestry. First, your attention is to bring the attention to the here now I am. It's a big tapestry. And once it comes, and if you keep on practicing, familiarizing the same thing, you may find it being here and now is a flat. It is monotonous. It is boring. It is disinterested. So therefore, within that tapestry, whatever the rhythmic action happening, what is the ups and downs are there, for the beginner that will be more attractive. So within the framework of here now I am, some people find easy to anchor on in-breath and out-breath. Some people on the rising and falling of the abdomen. So now you have to understand, at the beginning you focused on the materiality, it's a big tapestry. Within that now you are focusing to little object. That is the way the focusing happens. That is called one-pointedness. So this is a training. Let me explain everything in yet another way. When a person comes to a meditation center and sit on a cushion and sit in a comfortable posture and try to focus the attention to here now I am, he or she has to forget about the rest of the world. If there is any kind of lingering thoughts about the external world, you cannot bring the attention to here now I am. So therefore, that very thought moment you keep in the body is the biggest generous action you have done ever. Because you are so far has given so much of generous action quantifiable. Now in order to keep the attention within the body, you have to forget about the whole body, whole the world, rest of the world. So that means you are ready to give up. I can put it another way. In order to fix mindfulness in the body, here now I am, you have to fix unmindfulness to the rest of the world. So please understand, mindfulness is a relative thing. If you are ready to give up lot of areas in terms of mindfulness, your focus will be very alert, vigilant, diligent. So therefore, be mindful in the small part, so-called body, means you are ready to be unmindful about the rest of the world. You are ready to give up the rest of the world. You are generous so about the rest of the world. So therefore, now you bring the attention to the area where it's covered by your epidermis. Inside epidermis you call in, outside you call out. So now you have given up the out. That is how you bring the attention to the here now I am. And while you are observing this here now I am as a big tapestry, you may find the upper part of the body is moving in the rhythmic way according to the in-breath and out-breath. If you are taking the uppermost part of the respiratory tract, that is to say end of the nostril or bend in the nostril, the cavity, you may find within the body also now focus is going to the upper part of the body. So please remember, bringing attention to the upper part of the body means you are ready to sacrifice the lower part of the body. It is the paramita, dasa paramita, upaparamita, paramatta paramita. It says the bodhisattva ready to give even his body parts also in order to develop this generosity. So this is a kind of a minor model. Now in order to bring the attention to the upper part of the body, you are ready to give up the lower part. And sometimes you can experience it. And within the upper part of the body, when you are focusing on the nostril, or left wall of the nostril, or right wall of the nostril, now you are pinpointed to one thing and you are ready to give up the body. That is how one-pointedness is going to happen in the physical manner. Even if you are going to focus on the abdomen, rising and falling, you take the abdomen as in and the rest of the thing become out. So you can understand at the beginning, rest of the world is out, body is in. When you are focusing into the chest or upper part of the body, upper part of the body is in, rest of the body, including the lower part of the body, become out. And when you are coming to the one touch point like the end of the nostril, that becomes your gochara, ajjhatta, arammana, your object and your mind is within that, now you are ready to forget about all the body. So that is how the materiality, you start with the big one, and slowly, slowly with the help of the focus of the mind and the mindfulness, you reduce into the one particular point, and where you may understand the rubbing sensation, or wave-like action, or vibration, or heat, or cold, whatever may be. Now you are going to understand materiality by their intrinsic characteristics, by their personal characteristics, by their natural characteristics. So, in order to focus your little attention, in order to focus your bare mindfulness, you have to reduce the area to a sizable, workable size. Otherwise, your mindfulness is not enough. So, you focus into the whatever may be happening at the end of the nostril or top of your lip, and focus your attention in order to see materiality. Materiality in absolute terms. You are not looking at your nostril, end of the nostril, but you try to feel, experience what you experience in the in-breath and out-breath. And there, you are, for the first time, you are going to understand there's so much of things are happening within one in-breath, within one out-breath. And in-breath to out-breath change or discrimination between the in-breath experience and the out-breath experience going to sharp so much. You have so far given up the whole world and the whole body. Now you have to clearly understand, when you are focusing on the in-breath, you have to be completely forgetful and unmindful on the out-breath. When the out-breath is happening, you must be completely unmindful on the in-breath. So now, the sharpness is increasing. So, in order to make it very conspicuous, in order to make it very sharp, teachers, they make aphorisms. They ask the yogi, can you bring the mind or the present moment to here now I am? And he or she has to say yes or no with his or her experience. And then try to cross-question what is the experience of the present moment. Everyone get dumbbound. No one can talk. Because that is subject, your language is not sufficient enough. And then with this stillness, in this unquestionable, with that unquestionable, unanswerable question, in order to facilitate, give a kind of a release, ask, can you feel in-breath or out-breath or rising and falling? Many find very difficult to feel in-breath and out-breath because your mind is not so sharp. It is not so refined. So therefore, easily one can say, I can understand I am not dead, I understand I am not sleepy, I am not unconscious. But I can't explain whether the in-breath, out-breath happening, whether any action happens. So in order to develop this sharpness of the mindfulness, is observe with a relaxed mind for a long time to see what is the kind of object happening by itself. It is durable, it is prominent by itself. And if someone is going to say, I can feel the breath, or I can feel the rising and falling, even the Maha never sharpened that point. He just wanted to present, instead of subtle in-breath and out-breath, rising and falling. And he asked, if you can't feel it, keep the left arm on your tummy, on your abdomen, and see the physical movement. But some people, of course, can feel it without keeping the arm, and some people can feel the in-breath and out-breath also. But when it comes to the Upanishad, he made it more refined and clear. He told, can you experience in-breath or rising mode versus falling mode? So, first few interviews, you can't give an answer. So it says, this is the interview, this is what I have to tell you. Now you have come up to one particular point and try to discriminate rising mode versus the falling mode. The moment you try to explain it, you have to have so much of sharpness, so much of vigilance, so much of diligence, as well as continuity of the same object. Then only one day you will come and say, the rising is expansion, falling is a contraction. Rising is upward movement and falling is lower movement. Rising happening in a gradual process, falling happening like a collapsing, like you try to pick one or two or many characteristics, natural characteristics or intrinsic characteristic, personal characteristic, and that is what Buddha says, the Venerable Sayadaw says, the sap of the Dhamma, the juice of the Dhamma, juice of your meditation, juice of your interview. If you can't explain it, but if you're going to say, I observe it, but I can't see the difference between rising and falling, I can't see the difference between in-breath and out-breath, I thought of adding to that, still if you can feel in-breath and out-breath, but you can't discriminate between two. You can see, you can feel, you are not sleeping, you are not dead, you are not unconscious, but breathing as such you can feel, you can't discriminate in-breath and out-breath. For my understanding, that particular person is more biased toward the samatha meditation, concentration meditation. His inclination, personality trait is not sharpened towards the vipassana. But when you are going to take rising and falling, you have no options. Yes or no to the vipassana, it is never opening doors to samatha. So this is the difference between samatha bhava, the rising and falling and the in-breath and out-breath. So knowing that, Venerable Jnanarama, our preceptor, he again, out of the Maha, he mastered Mahasi system, and again revert back to the in-breath and out-breath, because we come from the cultural background. So even after sitting down, we can sometimes feel the in-breath and out-breath, and more than that, it is opening the doors to the samatha and vipassana. And Bhikkhu Bodhi, appreciating that, he told Venerable Jnanaram was so born out of the same soil, he understood the Sri Lankan mind, and he recommended in-breath and out-breath, and that is because it is opening doorways both to the samatha and vipassana. But don't make it a complication, don't make it a point to be worried. This is not, even the yogi know about this or not, no problem. But it's very sharp. The teacher must know. If the teacher do not know, that's the point. You are going to put petrol into the diesel engine. Or putting diesel into the petrol engine, ultimately you have to decarbonize the whole engine. So you have to understand which engine you are using, and accordingly you have to fuel. And it is a mistake. Both the parties has to share responsibilities 50-50. That is nothing because the yogi do not know crystal clear how to explain his whole experience. Accordingly, there are four types of yogis. Some, after listening this kind of thing, they are very sharp. They say, I sit, I bring the attention to the here now I am, and after a few minutes time, or after a while, I feel in-breath and out-breath. And they are sometimes says, I can feel in-breath and out-breath, but I can't get the touching point. I can't feel the in-breath versus out-breath, but I am sure I am not dead, I am not sleepy, I am conscious on the breath, but that's all. And yet another yogi may come and says, I can sit, I can feel the breath, and sometimes I can feel the rubbing sensation on the left nostril, not on the right, or top of the lip. So he or she is sharp on the location. And further, by pondering, he or she can say, in-breath is cooler, out-breath is warmer, in-breath is shorter, out-breath is longer, or vice versa, whatever may be the characteristics. So that indicates he or she is having a natural tendency or personality trait, the sharpness. So again and again, one has to get the same witness, then only can decide whether it is a kind of a already set, already fixed character type. And accordingly you have to give instructions and not to discourage that you don't get the touching point. You don't get the discrimination between in-breath, out-breath. But you are 3 stages ahead now. You are not in Kama Guna. You are not in Kama Sanya. Now you are really in the materiality. But materiality has 3 facets. Anapana is having all the 3 facets. It says, you can say, I am not in the thought, I am not in the sound, I am not in the pain, I am in Anapana. That's a one particular delimitation, pinpointing Anapana. And the second phase is you can say, I am feeling it in my right nostril, left nostril, top of the lip, or the location. The third aspect or third facet is in-breath is like that, out-breath is like that. If all the 3 facets are at your fingertips, or if you can articulate, that indicates you have the vipassana tendency. Other person may say, I am well and good. My mind is not wandering, no thoughts, no sounds, but when and there it is in the breath, I can understand. But he or she may fail to say it is happening in that particular point, or rubbing point, or touching point, or discrimination is not there. So that particular person, it says, he's and the samatha tendencies, other person is a vipassana tendencies, but don't take this as a hard and fast criterion, but this is just to indicate how much the interviews are important. Not only meditation, but how much you can articulate it. So according to the Upanishad side, he says, some yogis are so sharp, they can listen instructions very carefully, put into practice, and come and clearly indicate this is what it happens, at least after the guidance, after 2-3 interviews time. So these people are very short, very quick wit. Other people can experience, they don't know how to report in the interviews. And that is a responsibility of the teacher. So teacher has to take special care and not to harass the person, just let he or she to talk without having this difficulties in talking, and therefore it takes little time to say what to look into, what to express in the interviews. So therefore, Upanishad Sadhu, he write a special little article with a lot of 5 aphorisms, how to promote it, how to give tools, how to enlighten the person, to articulate, how to communicate it. So when I go to Burma, I was an utter failure. I also thought I am a very good meditator. But each and every time I face the interviews, it's an utter disappointment. He chased me out. Get out and tell me what is happening, what you are talking is, I can't understand. Even the very first day I come and meet Venerable Jnanarama, later Venerable Jnanananda told what I told was utter nonsense. They can't understand what I am talking. I am giving this and that examples, and I am so enthusiastic to see the Venerable Thero. And he also asked that, what is your meditation? Then I keep on chattering. And when Jnanananda told, majority we can't understand. But I am telling, even though you can't tell it, you are well and good because you are not in karma sphere now. You are not in the karma perception now. You are in the really matter, but the thing is you can't tell, you can't express it, you can't communicate it, you can't articulate it. Therefore, it is not good enough for the external sasana. That means you can't really express yourself. But you are secured enough. 3 stages. Yet another type, they can't experience it, but they have read books and they are really telling exactly the wrong things. They are the bookish people. They don't know what to tell, how to tell, they will never meditate. And they go and sit in the meditation halls and appear like meditating, but they are looking at the albums or novels and sitting behind the team. And in the interviews, come and tell. And the best, the sharpest person I found is Venerable Pandita Sayadaw. He can immediately come and say, you are talking about concepts. You are not talking about your experience. And these people are very big shots, coming from the other part of the world, and try to convince Sayadaw with book knowledge. He can't tolerate that joke, because he's so sharp. And if you meditate, you can't talk, no problem. He says, it is my responsibility, I will make a formula, I will give aphorisms, I will promote you. But if you are going to cheat yourself and talking, I am also an idiot, no jokes. And there are other people not meditating, not talking, they are not coming to the meditation center, no problem. Only the problem is people can meditate and they can't talk. So this is the part now, in the theoretical understanding, this is not happening in a talk. This is real communication takes place in interviews. You have to hack the fellow, you have to take the juice up. You have to squeeze the fellow and give this thing. At that time it appears like the Pandita says, you are just waiting in the queue to a dentist. And you know when you go to the clinic what is going to happen. They will prick you and remove this thing, and he says that don't shout at it, is no painful wait and kind of thing, but you know how it is difficult. So these people are waiting in the interview queue with so much of blood pressure, so much of tension, because they don't know how to talk. I had 18 months of experience and I got all the kind of punishments, and ultimately asked me to sit behind and listen to all the people, but they are talking. Everyone thought I am trained for a teacher. I only know is due to my lack of communication, I was waiting. But it was a very good experience for me. So that is why I like common interviews. In the common interviews, you can listen, you can ask, you can understand. Even you are a good and devoted meditator, how difficult this articulation is. And how much time it is taking for you to just express things as they are. You may be a good observer, but not a good commentator. So therefore in the meditation, not only making yourself straight and short and sweet, your grammar, your presentation, and everything is being shaped. And it is everything happened with this single object, with this in-breath and out-breath, with this rising and falling, with this left leg and the right leg. So therefore, in the interviews often, you get the majority of the content with the sitting meditation, little with walking meditation, and the least with the day-to-day activities. But when you keep on practicing, you will see your content to the day-to-day sitting meditation will become dwindling, and the day-to-day walking and day-to-day activities ultimately becoming so interested, and you can see every day-to-day activity is nothing but 4 elements. Nothing but Pathavi Dhathu, Apo Dhathu, Tejo Dhathu, Vayo Dhathu, that means hardness and softness, fluidity and cohesiveness, heat and cold, movements and stiffness. Nothing. But you trace them, you isolate them, you delimit them, you talk them, you communicate them at the beginning in the sitting meditation under the laboratory condition, and then you are being trained and how to practice as well as how to communicate it. So supposing someone be acquainted with the in-breath and out-breath and try to see discreetly the difference between the in-breath and out-breath. Often what I do is I take this in-breath and out-breath as an example for the talk. And there you can see moment you are going to see in-breath is with cool in-breath air draft, out-breath is somewhat warmer, air draft and rubbing sensation, vibrations and wave-like actions, starting slowly and end up with a very fast action, or start very fast and end up with a very slow. Likewise, when it is going to happen, now you are going to recognize Dhathu or elements without understanding that is me, that is mine, and that is myself. So you have to get a look, you have to get a perspective as an outsider. You are observing, of course, verily under your very nose. But you are commenting, you are reporting it like a neutral observer, a distance observer. So when that happens, you find a huge amount of release, huge amount of relaxation, because more and more you observe, more and more become immediate with the object, detailed with the explanation, you find your mind never go to any desire. It is safeguard. Never go to any hatred. No sleepiness. No doubt whether it is in-breath or out-breath. You go, no, this is in-breath, not out-breath. This is not a sound. This is not a tone. And then you can say, this is out-breath, not in-breath. It is not a sound. It is not a tone. So much of facets, so much of ways, it comes from no doubts. And you can entertain the past and the future. So when that happens, Pandit going to say, you are the very first person come to know, now it is face-to-face with the object. Now your mind is face-to-face with the object, and when and where it is wandering off, verily you know, it is not with the object. It is not inferior thing, because you are very know what is happening. But the thing is, in the interview you never mention these things. You think it is a mistake. You think it is a lack of morality, lack of respect kind of thing. But wherever the mind goes, whether it is a primary object or secondary object, it is just for the clarity, it is just for the priority, you select the primary object. Primary object is nothing superior. It is yet another object, but you know, you agreed upon, this is my primary object. You try, whenever there is no any distraction, you keep the mind in the primary object. I am repeating, whenever there is no distraction, you take the primary object as your reference point. Benchmark. Don't fight whenever other objects are prominent. Then you have to clearly say, yes, I am with the sound, I am with thought, I am with the pain. This sound is like nearing me or disappearing me. It's a female sound, male sound, or liking or disliking. Verily you are using the same status. And if it is a pain, pull your mind from the nose, of course it is happening, and stick the place where you experience the pain. Explain it. I am experiencing a pain on my right leg. It is piercing like, it is torturing like, it is twisting like, it is a patch or it is a pinpointed like. Your sharpness exactly you put into the pain, because pain already has taken taken you for a ride and it is now going. So you are giving a comment. And whenever thinking happen, you can say these thinking are 6 types, past and the future, likings and disliking, and more towards the agitation of the mind or more towards the slimy mind. These are the only 6. So you can, when and where the thoughts happen, if you observe them without any hatred, you can see often I associate the past. All people are, that is the way. They are always with the past. Younger generation is often with the future. And sometimes with the desire, sometimes with the hatred, sometimes with the agitation of the mind, sometimes with the slimy mind. So if you can recognize, I would like to say categorically, more than the in-breath and out-breath, if you can give detailed account on your thoughts, it is much, much higher mindfulness than with the primary object. So yogi will understand at the very latter stage, because they will think thinking is something, a punishable mistake. Or it is a mistake due to my morality. Or I am not following the instructions. But still I am maintaining, as far as you were really articulating, really communicating the primary object, you learn the vocabulary. You learn the way of reporting. And you are using it for the secondary objects also. And when it is happening, so you can keep bookkeeping to the whole hour. As much as possible. But there it says, don't try to judgmental to say this is good, this is bad. Your mere duty is to report what is happening as it is. And that's the most difficult thing. That is the most difficult thing because we have our preconceived idea. This is good, this is bad. Before starting you say, my meditation is bad, I can't understand. This was so much of wandering thought, so much of the disappointments and irritation kind of thing. But all of them are also out of this, one out of these 6 elements. These elements have no any idea whether I am operating in the male or female. They do not know it is to defile someone. There is no any uplifting someone. They are mere elements, but you are going to give values and labels and preconceived ideas, and then only you get entangled with this tension, entangled with this frustration. So, of course, at the beginning you are always frustration, but later you will understand when and where you are reporting elements as elements, you have to get the distance, and then only you can give a clear report. Otherwise, your preconceived ideas, premeditated ideas and likings and disliking, your personality traits, karmic forces, everything is blocking the communication. So what you are talking about is what you thought rather than you observe. So this is the difference between the meditation. Meditation appreciates what you see, not what you thought. In order to write or report what you thought, not necessarily you have to be under paid precepts and the white clothes and come to the meditation. You can do anything at home. But here it is just to observe and to report as it is. So when that is happening, you have to understand you are reporting nothing but 6 elements. So when and where the air element or water element or fire element or earth element going to become your foundation, or that to sort of say, mind is going to associate more and more with this air element, and if you find it's well and good because it is something under your nose and it is something natural, and you trust upon that, one day, and this air element become your whole world. You will be within the subject of in-breath and out-breath. And you can understand, this explain not only the air element, not only the 4 element, not only the mind and matter, it is comprising whole universe. The air element, once you go into the air element, that is the whole universe. Each and every atom is made out of, each and every air or gas made out of atoms. And if you analyze the atom, it is exactly explaining what is the configuration of the earth, the universe, or Milky Way. So, but till you go into the air element and trust, or you enter into that, you think, what is the use of observing and studying the air element? This is nika hulang. That is in Sinhala we call, this is hulang. That is nothing. So why should I allocate everything and come and sit and observe the hulang, the air? Because it is usually considered as a bankruptcy. Hulang means finished. But the moment you trust and enter into, in Samatha method it is called the Appana Jhana, you go into the object of meditation and you forget about everything and you do away with 5 hindrances, it is called Rupa Jhana. Or you can go to the earth kasina, air is not considered as kasina, and water kasina, and tejo kasina, anything. Or within the body itself, you can go for abhibhayatana kasina. That means you can understand one or the other element become very prominent. It becomes consistency, it becomes durability. Under your very nose, ultimately too much of acquaintance and the frequency and the immediacy, your mind feel like going to that object from the samatha point of view. But even in the vipassana, when both the mind and the matter, here the noting mind and the air element, when they are moving in the same speed, they appear like a bridging each other. So this kind of is called momentary concentration. Or if you take kasina as such, it is called samatha concentration. So when that happens, you are never at that moment with the kama guna or kama sanya. You are really with the material. That is called, it is called rupa jhana. When the rupa jhana happens, in the Pottapada Sutta, Buddha says you are given your gross body, your gross sensuous pleasure. Instead you take refuge on the materiality, vitakka vichara, piti sukha, sukhama satya sanya. You come to a perception, very subtle perception, than the gross materialistic pleasure. So this is immaterial pleasure. And you understand, whenever you go to that kind of a pleasure, it is mere a walkover. No one to fight with. You are not earning it, you are not winning by defeating someone. Sensuous pleasure, always you have to suppress someone. It is kind of exploitation. But this is no one to fight, enormous amount, but the thing is you have to forego materiality or materialistic pleasure. And then when it comes there, you come to the sukhama satya sanya. That means you are with the gross kind of materiality and you take refuge. And there are 14 odd number of objects. Anapana also one of them. And when you go there, you first time going to understand Rupa Jhana. And for my understanding, whether it is recognized it as a Samatha Jhana or Vipassana experience, functionally they are the same. But the person who biased to Samatha kind of a meditation and the commentary, they never happy to accept that. They say, no, Samatha Jhana is completely different. It is true to type. It's a branded product. But the Vipassana Jhana is something adulterated or something second-hand. But I am very happy to have a second-hand car. I don't mind. So that is how I thought of leaving us out, not to worry about the jhanic experiences, but to get the experience that you are be with face-to-face with the object. And there you take refuge of the primary object more often, and then it is the materiality. So when you go into the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, materiality go into immateriality. Akasananchayatana. Fifth jhana is known as Akasananchayatana. This is the fifth element. You have to go through Patavi Dhathu, Apo Dhathu, Tejo Dhathu, Vayo Dhathu. Once you mastered, then only you see everything happen in the canvas of Akasa Dhathu. By mastering the presence, the materiality, you see the volume, it is happening, everything happening in the Akasa. So therefore, Akasa is contenting, holding all the materiality. Once you mastered and so to say you see through matter, ultimately you are bound to see the space. That is Akasa. So after the Rupa Jhana, you go to Arupa Jhana, starting with Akasananchaya, that's the fifth element, and understanding this is matter, this is immaterial, that is what you call Vijnananchaya, and understanding or discriminating. So Akasananchaya is a very subtle state, and from the Akasananchaya you are going to the Vijnananchaya. So that is how Patavi Dhathu, Apo Dhathu, Tejo Dhathu, Vayu Dhathu, Akasa Dhathu, Vijnana Dhathu. When you go to that level only, you see your mind is almost like immaterial mental phenomena. You can't see the boundary, this is me, this is not me. You can't see any matter and mind, but you are verily living. You are happily not sleeping. You are not unconscious, but there's nothing to trace, no any pegs, nothing there. So then only you can comparatively understand this is the materiality, this is the substrata, that is space, and understand the matter against the space is the basic function of the vijnana, that is discrimination, and therefore understanding that you can see the when and where mind goes to that level, you can't recognize yourself, or you can't recognize the conceit that you are better than other one. You can't conceive any kind of a lion's share or better half. This part is good and this part is bad. Everything appears to be equal. So therefore everything appears to be some kind of no any relative value. That is how it is leading into. So today we have taken enough time for the Dhamma talk. So I would like to go a little further tomorrow using this materiality, space and the consciousness. And when you go there, how profound it is leading to from the conscious mind to subconscious. And when you go to the subconscious, everyone is equal. That is why the Sigmund Freud and the Carl Jung, they told, it's the universal unconscious. And earlier they thought it's like a mystics. But there's a path. When you go the path, I would say there's a mindfulness. Mindful leading from the material to the consciousness. When you go there and come back again, and going there and come back again, you develop kind of a relationship between the realistic and mystic. Ultimately you find every person is consisting these both spheres, and mystic part we have natural fear. That is called fear of new. We call fear of unknown. So therefore you have to go it in a gradual process, come back, again you go there. There you understand, you are opening both the hemispheres in your brain. And ultimately it becomes kind of a full bloom working of your brain, and then you feel you are living. You are not partial living. You are not the part and partial, you are the whole mind going to work. Then you find this is the blessing or endowment, so-called humanity, the human brain. So then accordingly you can understand in our rational world, in our sensuous world, what a little fraction we are using towards that, how much of envious, how much of desire, how much of hatred, how much of defilement. When and where you become full-fledged, there's nothing to have one-upmanship, and that is the way the tension have no base, no frustration can take place, no neurosis can stand, at least for that little bit of time. So that is, you understand, there is a part, due to the wrong calculation and wrong valuation, the frustration and everything exists. There's another way, you can do away with it, and ultimately you can find both the kind of personalities are living within the skull. So when you are understanding it, you can feel, I have never done that kind of experiment beforehand, now only exploring. So you are the very person to recognize it. I hope today's talk is somewhat helpful to understand it, wishing that may help you to understand and encourage, courageously continue the timetable and advance. May you all be healthy, wealthy and happy. Thank you very much for listening.